Hello, I'm Sharp from Game Cannon, and this is the final Datacron guide for the Republic, and it's for the plus 10 stats Datacron on the Republic fleet. Now, before you go to get this, you need to start by preparing some items. You'll need the MGGS from Alderaan, which you would have needed on Corellia as well, so you should have got that already, but you can look at our Alderaan guide, which I'll link for you to go and get that one. You will also need 2 crystals, one of which is on Corellia, and it's in the south of Axial Park in the zoo. You go right to the south of the zoo as I showed on the map before, and then you just head round here. All these mobs are neutral, you don't have to kill them, and it's in this box next to that skull. Okay, so the next crystal you're after is on the Republic fleet, and it's on the Datacron, which is one of the ships on the fleet. It's in the museum, so you want to head to the lift out of the interfleet transport section onto the bridge deck, and then it's in the south of the bridge deck. There's an elevator there where I just indicated on the map, but it's not shown on the map, and that's the elevator to the museum. So just hit this switch and it just takes you up to the museum. So once you're up there, you just hang a right, use your speeder to get up on this platform, and then just inside here is a switch that you can press, and that switch will blow a hole in the wall in front of you, and you just head through that hole, follow the tunnel all the way around. You can use your speeder again for speed, and it comes out here at the other crystal that you need. So with all that prepared, this is where you'll need a full group, and you all need to be level 50 if you want to get the Datacron, although you can take lower levels along to help, but they can't get the Datacron. So put the red crystal in there, in that statue, someone presses the button on the other side, and it removes this force field so you can head through this door. Follow that tunnel round and you come to a bridge on your left. Now one person at a time can cross the bridge, so you want to leave one person there and bring 3 people down the corridor further to this room. There's 3 panels, and each one has to be pressed at the same time in order to deploy the bridge. So you all pick a panel, all press it at once, and the bridge will deploy. Now what we found actually was you can actually do it with 2 people rather, if one of them's a sage, because they have the sprint ability, or the force speed, so they can actually hit 2 of them. So that puts the bridge up, and then there are more panels on the other side, so it basically means that you have to hit 3 at a time, any combination on each side, but it is important that you do hit 3 different ones, so they are slightly different shapes, the consoles, so you just have to make sure you hit a full set. So now Gandhi's over the other side, he's going to hit one, the other 2 guys, Gumby and McDougal, hit the other side ones, and I cross over the bridge, and then I take my position up at this one so that we can get another person across. At this point I'm going to hand it over to Gandhi, who's going to talk you through probably the most frustrating part of any Datacron so far.
Thank you very much, Sharp, for the handover. This is Gandhi, everyone. I'm going to be taking you through this final room. It's quite a complicated room. There's quite a few guides out there that are doing it badly or just giving inaccurate information, and we're going to hope to give you as matter of fact information as possible. So what I'm going to do is dissect the room in a few images first, which will be available on the website as well and in the description to this video on YouTube, and then I'm going to play out in video format how we achieved the final button press that got us to the door that obviously leads to the Datacron. Okay, so the first image we're going to look at is one of the buttons. Now there are 5 buttons in the room, and there are 5 grappling points in the room. Okay, so the first button, which you now see here in this image, the S, the crudely drawn S, that's your starting point on all these images. Okay, so you've started from this point, and this is all I'm doing is I'm showing the route to the button. Okay, and I'll explain how you trigger the grapple points, if there are any, to get to that button later on. But for now I'm just showing you the route and describing it to you. So what you want to do is you're by the terminals here. This S, the starting area, is basically where you come over the bridge. You're in this big walkway. Okay, now you want to drop down where the line's indicating there and run along some railings, which you do have to follow the railings. If you go on a gap you will fall through, you're not protected by an invisible floor. And then you want to hang a left onto another little girder, go along, and then just jump across to the button, and that's button 1. Okay, that's how you get there. Button 2. Button 2 is just a grapple, so you're from, again, that safe starting area, and it's just a grapple upward. It's a bit of an annoying one, and it quite often glitches you up into looking into outer space, or you're not quite there, or you can take damage, and it's by far the most frustrating. But there is a knack to it. What it seems to be is quite often you have to use a skill just as you're approaching. So I've heard of people using cover to take cover just as they're approaching the button. So play around with your skills. There might be one of you in the group that can get there better than the rest. Do figure out this one first, because once you've got the hang of this, the rest will go a lot smoother. Okay, so for button 3, you're just running along the similar girder as before, and this time when you get to that point I've circled on this image, that's you're dropping down a level, because the girder that runs along to button 3 is actually much lower than the rest of this, so you want to sort of worm your way down and drop off onto it. You will take about 3k damage, but you should be fine. Okay, button 4. Now button 4, I must admit, is the only one I never saw with my own eyes, so I'm going on what my group members were doing at the time. It's a grapple one, so you are looking for a sight on the grapple point. Now I've given a yellow line where I thought the grapple point was, where they've gone from, but I could be wrong, and the red line is an alternate route that you might have to take. I just advise you go and have a look at it, get it scoped out, make sure you can see it. That whole top north section of the map is actually much lower than the rest, so I suspect the red line may actually be the more accurate one, and that maybe you walk along, drop down, and then you move along and get an angle on it. As I say, I've not seen that one, so I can't say for sure, but I think the red line is possibly the most accurate route to get a shot on the grapple point. So that's button 4. And here's button 5. Button 5, I've put the start point as over near button 1, and that's simply because in the way we play out how you achieve getting up to the door, that's the run you'll have to make. Yes, you could go along from the safe starting area that I've gone for all the others, but the most likelihood is that someone will come along from that point. So you just jump back over onto that girder, move along a little bit, which you'll see me doing in the video, and then you grapple up to that one. So that's button 5. Okay, so now we're looking at the overall map and how I've laid it out. So the green dots stand for grapple points. Okay, so these are all the ones that you'll shoot your gun at, your MGGS gun, and that'll pull you up to all those points. And obviously the red ones that are entitled B, they're for your buttons, so they're the various buttons in the room. So I'm going to attempt now to talk you through how you get set up to trigger the grapple point 5, and that's what you're really trying to do in this room. You're trying to trigger grapple point 5 because that's the one that pulls you up to the door that leads you through to the Datacron. And I would advise that the person who does that final stretch has some kind of rescue ability, some kind of pull ability, so they can pull other members up from a 30-meter range. I did it, I'm a sage, and I have rescue skill that can do that, so I would advise thinking it out beforehand. Okay, so the way you want to do it is you want to have someone head down to button 1. Now, when that person activates button 1, that's going to turn on grapple point 1. Okay, now as I said to you, that's really the one you want to get to first, because once you've managed that, it just makes everything easier. It's not actually one you'll need straight away, but it's the best order to go in. So, get someone down to button 1, have someone ready to get up to grapple point 1, and just get someone up there. Now once they're up there, you want to just leave them there. Okay, so now we have that person stood on button 2, and you just want them to stand there. Now you want to have someone head along to button 3. Okay, so we've used button 1 to activate grapple point 1, and we've got someone up to button 2, and they're holding tight there. Someone's moving along to button 3 now. Now, whoever moves along to button 3 is going to have to stay at button 3, okay? So pick that person carefully. The person at button 3 is going to activate that button. That's going to turn on grapple point 2, okay? So then have someone use that grapple point 2, and that's going to leave them at button 4. So we now should have someone stood at button 3, button 4, button 2, and now your remaining person, if they're not stood there already, have them go to button 1. Okay? Now the way the final thing is going to play out, you've now got someone on 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now we need to activate all 5 to trigger grapple point 5. It's funny, you'll see grapple point 3 there we've not used. That's because technically if you activate button 4 it activates grapple point 3, but you don't really ever need it, because I'm going to show you a way that the person who's hitting button 1 can also get up to button 5. So there's maybe some kind of way where they expect you to have 5 people, which is just a bit odd because groups of 4, so you know, why would you? But regardless, we're not use grapple point 3 here, so don't worry about that. Okay, so running over things again because I'm trying to make this as clear as possible. We've got someone stood on button 1, button 2, button 3 and button 4. Now you all want to trigger your buttons. The person on button 1 is then going to jump onto that grid, that girder, sorry, that they've used to run along to button 1 initially. They're going to jump over to that, run a little bit along, and they're going to grapple up to button 5, and then they're going to hit button 5 as soon as they can. Upon hitting button 5, all the buttons should be active because they stay active for a short period of time. So the time that it's taken them to get up there, all the buttons will still be active. They're going to hit that button 5, and that should activate grapple point 5. You can actually walk backwards from button 5 and get an angle on grapple point 5, so you don't need to get over to grapple point 3. That's another reason you might think that grapple point 3 is there, to maybe get an angle on grapple point 5. But you can actually hit it from button 5. So just walk backwards as soon as you hit that and grapple up, and that's you've got one member up there. And from there you can pull people up. You should start to know the room, start to know the environment, and figure out how you can do it. The easiest way is obviously to get them as close to that person as possible, and then just pull them up. And then if the first person you pull up is someone else who has a pull ability, then you can do double pulls. So you can pull someone up and the other person can grab them off of you so they don't slip off the edge. It's quite easy actually. If you get someone to jump up in the air, it can sometimes help pull them over the edge a bit easier. So just play around with it. It should be easy from there. So I'm now just going to play through the video on that exact sequence that I've just described to you, and hopefully from this video you'll have a better idea on how the room works and you'll be able to get through it. Okay, so this is me down there at button 1. That is the grapple point 4 that I'm going to be getting up to, where button 5 is. So we're all just syncing our button presses now. So that's me hit button 1, I'm jumping over to the girder and I'm using grapple point 4. That's gonna, I'm double pressing that. That's a neat trick that sometimes works. It helps get you up there. So that's button 5 now. I've just hit that, I'm stepping back as I described before, and that is grapple point 5, which is now active. Zoom up and I'm there. Now I would recommend using that, a little bit of a celebration, you'll want to do it too. I would recommend sometimes using the double press. I've used it there, it worked very effectively. So it's a great feeling finally getting up after all that work. So this is us after pulling everyone up. You can actually see that you could use, if you wanted, that was where I was suggesting you force pull people up from, but you can use that grapple point 4 and then just force pull them up from there if you wanted. At least that's a way to get a second person up. You know, you couldn't get everyone up that way. You would you'd have to probably rescue them or force pull them. So we're just fast forwarding this now. This is us going into the Datacron itself. Nothing tricky here, but I thought I'd just show you the scene of finally getting it, this being our last Datacron guide in the series obviously. So we will be moving on to do some final edits so that we have a complete set for both Republic and Sith, but this is obviously a biggie for us. So thank you everyone who's been watching all along the way, and I hope you've enjoyed them. I hope that they've been useful for you, and obviously I hope this proves to be one of the best guys out there for the +10 Datacron. So thanks once again for everyone who's supported us. You know, if we didn't have these subscribers and views and comments, then we wouldn't keep doing them. So it's good to know that people are looking for it. And thank you as well to our guildies. You can see 2 of them here who came and helped me and Sharp, and who have put up with our slow leveling due to our focus on these guides and the Game Canon site and YouTube. So thank you to them as well. There will be more videos coming. We're expanding into new content all the time, so keep watching. Please, you know, visit our website, visit our YouTube channel, subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll see you soon.